I'm Benjamin Sears. Welcome to Movement Snacks. If you're enjoying these short bouts of nourishing movement, please go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel. For today's short practice, you'll need a block or a couple of books and some kind of resistance band, or this could also be like a bathrobe belt that you tie in a loop, or just get creative if you don't have the tools at home. So we'll get right into it. Line your side. Let's go on the left side, and then actually first take the band and place it around your ankles so that there's a bit of resistance, at about hips width distance. You may need to adjust and kind of play with this till it feels right. And then put the block between your knees the middle width way. So we're gonna activate the muscles that create internal rotation of the hip and then bring that into a yoga context. So squeeze into the block and then lift your ankle as high as you can without letting your hip shift. And so this blocked position really creates boundaries that allow you to focus on internal rotation of the hip. So stay here, and we're gonna do about a minute in this low intensity isometric of just trying to lift your ankle upwards. Now, as you do this, keep your low ribs pulled in and tailbone not over tucked, but also not a big arch in your back. So think sitting bones out and away and low belly in, so that the two triangles of your pelvis are really meeting in the middle. Keep lifting your ankle up. So what I mean by two triangles of your pelvis is that hip bone to coccyx is a backwards pointing triangle, and sitting bone to pubis is a forward pointing triangle. So they're like tectonic plates underneath you. You can think of it as your terrestrial nature, the underpinning of your soul. And these plates shift in opposite directions so that you have a center line from your perineum up through the crown of your head. So hip bones back, sitting bones forward. And now at the end here, take an inhale, punch forward with your right arm, and 3 breaths through your mouth. Try to lift your ankle a little higher. Last one, a lot of strength here. Nice. Okay, now you can just slide your foot out from under the band, take the block, put it underneath your head, and then we're going to go through a controlled articular rotation of the hip. So right knee up, right knee out. Now internally rotate your hip without letting your hips open. Circle your leg behind you so your knee drops to the floor ahead of your ankle. Pause and then retrace. Reach back through your heel. Lead from the outer ankle. Good. Keep this internal rotation and then slowly shift to external rotation. Bring your thigh to your body. Side swipe your knees. We'll keep going in that direction one more time. So flatten your low back and pull your belly in as you move into hip extension. Lead from the outer ankle, the inner ankle, and then knees together. Nice. Let's go right to the other side. So essentially what we're doing is just prepping this internal rotation so that we can bring it into a little bit of a yoga context, and you'll feel more access to space in your lower back. So now go on your right side. Squeeze the block between your knees, support your head. You could also have a block underneath your head. And then for about a minute, lift your left ankle upwards. Do that without letting your hips shift like out and back too much. So what I like to think about is inhale, squeeze the block. Exhale, lift your ankle higher. Also press your opposite ankle into the floor, right? So it's like you need an anchor point in order to do mobility work, because otherwise the whole, if the anchor point shifts, then you're not really isolating the joint. And then another thing is on the inhale, I think of pulling my hip bones back, and on the exhale, a little bit sitting bones forward. So again, those two opposing triangles move in opposite directions. And that's what helps you find the center of your pelvis. So the center, if you're using the magic square of the pelvis, is the perineum. And so that's the sacred heart of the pelvis. And you always mediate through the middle. So think that your perineum goes straight down, right? And your knees go a little forward, but your sitting bones go a little back. And then everything moves in opposite directions. And you can always find these points of polarity to potentiate balance. Take an inhale, make a fist. Exhale, reach up with your left ankle. Good. As you do that, pull your belly in. So this internal rotation, if you're not overusing your back, will help you feel longer in your back. Again, exhale. One more inhale. Strong exhale, squeeze the block, lift your ankle higher. Nice. So hip should feel pretty good from that. You can unstrap yourself and then just put the band off to the side, and we'll do the controlled articular rotation of the hip using the awareness that you just created. I like to put my hand on my lower back so that I feel that my back muscles don't engage, and then open your knee to the side. Now, when you shift into internal rotation, you lead from the outer ankle, circle your knee behind you, pause here, exhale, reach back through your heel, lead from the outer ankle, and then the inner ankle, right? So that's when you shift from internal to external rotation, and then side swipe your knees. And now we keep going this direction, reach back through your heel, lead from the outer ankle, lead from the inner ankle, bring your knees together, and then just push yourself up and come on to your hands and knees on your mat. And we'll keep using the block for a moment, but this time I want to put the block the thin way between your knees. Squeeze your knees together, and for just a moment here, exhale through your mouth and round your lower back. And then let's measure up your hands actually before we really get moving. So turn your hands in so your middle fingers touch each other. This will give you your shoulders with distance. And pivot on the Mount of Venus, the fleshy part of your thumb, so your index fingers point straight ahead. So now you've got right angles everywhere, and then round through the center of the right angles. Nice. From there, start to pull your chin back and pull your heart through while you pull the mat in with your elbows so that you lead from the heart. Nice, you can arch through your entire spine, but keep gliding your chin back instead of throwing your face forward so that your lungs come to the front of your body. You can feel how when you squeeze the block and keep that little bit of internal rotation in your hips, it feels a lot different to arch your back. And then from here, round your lower back. Good. Keep your lower back round, but move your sitting bones back, and then pull your heart forward. Nice. That's it. Good. Now take the block and put it the thin way between your legs and step back to plank pose. 1, 2. And then keep the block between your legs, bend your knees and lift your hips for downward dog. So roll your knees in and pull the mat out with your feet so that your sitting bones pull apart, but at the same time, pull your front ribs in so that your back stays really long. And then come forward to plank and back to dog and forward to plank and back to dog and forward to plank. And again, put your knees down. Now you can move the block off to the side, take your right knee to the center, step your left leg around and over so you come into Gomukhasana. And then to prep your wrists a little bit, let's flip your palms so your fingers are in reverse. And if this feels like too much for your wrists, you could always elevate your palms a little bit by rolling up the front of the mat. Good. And then start to spin your pelvis to the right. So if you're not used to the Katonah practice or the way that I integrate the Katonah practice into these movement stacks in my practice in general, this might feel a little weird for you, but one thing I can tell you is that the only way to get an insight is to go through the experience. So let yourself have an experience and spin your pelvis to the right. And know that the spin to the right is about spinning towards your pragmatic and scholastic right hand. So press down through your right hand and your left foot, and your right foot and your left hand, and let all your corners mediate your middle. And know that when you spin to the right, keep your head up, right, so that you can look out into the world, so that when if you're a really good chef, you can stir the pot and talk to the staff in the kitchen. So spin to the right and spin with time. Touch every number on the clock so that you don't miss any part of the day, so that you can be present throughout the entire movement of you around the sun, because really the sun doesn't rise and set, you rise and set. Spin it a few more times, maybe a little faster, especially if you're the kind of person who waits at the end to start sprinting. Spin it faster at the end. Nice. Good. Exhale everything out. Flip your hands around the regular way. Keep your knees bent. Lift your hips up. Downward facing dog with your legs crossed. Step your feet so that they're in one line side to side, and then use the balls of your feet to find your knees, one knee in the back of the other knee. So the balls of your feet lift your lungs, the lungs of your legs are your hamstrings. So lift your hamstrings, bring your chest forward, and then come forward to plank without losing the bolt, and back to downward dog. So forward and back. Notice how I bend my knees as I come up, so it's like a conjunction. It's like, and I can keep my knees together, and my knees mediate my legs. My knees are the middle of my legs. Good. So come forward and back. Nice. And then come down to your knees, and this time step your right foot around in front. And when you step your right foot around in front, let's make a third hand. So interlace your fingers like a well-strung tennis racket and place your hands right underneath your heart. So in this case, you bring your hands together and you make a third hand. So the third hand, spin to the left, is the stellar hand. So I told you, it's the stellar hand. So the right hand is the solar hand, right? It's the hand that handles the world. The left hand is lunar. So we spin to the left now, spin to the left side, which is represents your terrestrial nature, your unique gifts, what you came into the world with, what is unconscious. So unconsciously, we are all pulled by the tides of the lunar cycles. We're all pulled by the tides of the moon, right? And then when you put your hands together and thread it well, then you become well integrated. And when you put your left hand and your right hand together, you make a pair. And when you make a pair, you repair. That's why everybody's looking for their other half. But you, through your own practice, can be your own other half. So keep spinning it. and learn how to spin well so that you can not get spun out when life spins you out. Good, keep your shoulders back, but push the floor away. And then 3, 2, 1, nice. Turn your hands back to the regular position, lift your hips. Good, look forward. Step your back foot a little forward so that your feet are in one line. And then use your back knee to lift your hip up. So as I press my left knee into my right knee, I can lift my left hip up. And then as my knees move together, it's like threading the needle, right? And my hips move apart. So as I thread the needle at the third eye of my pelvis, which is my knees, that's room 9 of the pelvis, then I can lift my hips more. And I'll explain that to you in a moment. So come forward and back a few times. You can add your breath to it. Keep your arms straight and fold from your first fold, the biggest origami fold of your body, which is your hips. Nice, go forward and back a few times. Pause in downward facing dog. And then this is a really fun one. We're gonna take twisting dog here. So move your left hand back just a little bit. Take your right hand and put it on your right heel, which is now on the left side. Notice how my knees are very bent, right? Arms straight, knees bent. And then look forward and come forward to turn your head. So a twist isn't about ducking under your arm. Instead, lean back into the twist. Move your knees forward, stick your butt up, and then use the leverage of your heel into your hand and your hand into your heel to turn your heart. Nice. And then just take your right hand, put it down, and step your left foot around in front. And take your left hand to your left heel, which is now on the right side, and look straight ahead. And then move your right knee forward as you twist towards the right, so that you always have the strength and stability and structure of your first floor, and you truly get to have a personal revolution. Because to have a revolution, you have to have stability. You have to have a good plan, and then you can hold a high vision. Nice. Put your hands back down. Good. And then here's where we really get to the fun of it. So take your left hand to the center. Keep the bolt to the scissor. We'll do the first one really slow. Reach your right hand forward, and then stay on the balls of your feet and lift your hips. As you lift your hips, stay high, and you come into this bench pose. Good. Now the whole key of this is really that it's about the lower body. So we're not trying to go to a deep back bend, we're just trying to find stability. So keep looking forward. Notice my hips stay up, right? As my hips stay up, I find the bolt of this scissor. Right hand comes down, right foot steps around in front. I'm still looking at the same spot. The balls of my feet lift my lungs, and I'm back here. Right? Let's do a few more of those. So left hand reaches forward, look forward, left foot steps around, and again I flip it. Nice. Again, eyes forward, knees connect, right foot step around, and flip it. Good. And then you can braid it a little faster once you become a good braider. If you've ever gotten braids, you know that the more skillful the braider, the faster the job. So let's keep flipping it, and keep flipping it because, you know, you're basically making pancakes. And the first pancake is never as good as the fourth pancake, because by the time you get to the fourth pancake, you've really got a nice hot pan. Let's do 1, 2, 3 is your stellar nature, you're a star, and then 4 is you, the product and what you do with it. Good. Come back down with your left knee in front, like this. So here we go. And then take your block and put it behind you. And as you sit back into Gomukhasana, stick your butt out so that you sit down in front of your sitting bones. So I always do Gomukhasana from tabletop. I never do it from seated because then you don't get in the fold of your hips. So stick your butt out and reach for the block. Nice. And then you can pull your back foot forward so that you triangulate your base. From here, crawl your fingers forward and pull your heart forward and stick your butt out. So that there's 2 back bends in the forward bend. And then you can magic square the pelvis. So for 1, go down to your tailbone. This is what I was talking earlier. And then 2, move your right knee forward. 3, find a little fold at your left hip bone. 4, left knee forward. 5, perineum. So that's the middle of the magic square of the pelvis. So it's like the heart of the pelvis. And then 6, right sitting bone out to your own side, out to its own side. Right? So think that the right sitting bone goes out and starts to move counterclockwise. And then go up to your right hip bone, and the right hip bone goes back. So as the right sitting bone comes around, the right hip bone comes back. And then go around your back to your left sitting bone, and that one goes clockwise, so that everything really is revolving against everything else, because to do one thing, you have to do everything. And then the third eye of the pelvis is 9. Bring your knees together, right? So now you have the polarity of 1, tailbone, and 9, and you can do the breath of the moment, which is from 1 to 9. So go inhale up the back of your body, image fire rising, get to the top of your head. Exhale down the front of your body, and image that water descends. And water is the image of grace. So inhale up your back. It takes effort to make a fire. Your practice is a fire. It's a tapas, right? It's a burning of impurities by fire. That's what that word means. And then exhale down your front, because through your efforts you receive grace. But you don't really get to ask for grace. You don't get to say when it comes. It's just you keep making efforts, make your efforts more skillful, and then eventually grace will rain down upon you at the right moment. Nice. Take your left hand in front of you, and then move your right knee forward and stick your butt out, and then reach your right arm behind you and pull with your left fingers to twist. But as you twist, shift your hips to the right. Good. So take a few exhales here. Keep twisting. Now, some of you might be able to put your elbow down, fit the armpit to the knee, and hold your foot, but you have to keep moving your hips to the right, even as you twist to the right, because your hips are going to try to take a wide left turn. So lean back into the twist. This twist starts really low, it's quite nice, and reach your knees forward and your sitting bones out. And then know that it's all about really your hips underneath you, so your heart can turn, so your head can turn. Nice. And then sweep your right fingers down and bring your left arm out. And it's harder to twist this way because you're more bound, right? So the bind is really to give you a reference for what to twist against. And this isn't about flailing your arm back. Externally rotate your upper arm and then reach your feet opposite directions and twist. Good. And then from there, left fingers come down, and you're just going to spin all the way around until you can bring your knees down onto the mat again with your right leg in front. And then stick your butt out as you sit back, slide your bottom foot forward, and try to keep a really strong pull to that scissor, and avoid the temptation to sit back on your sitting bones, because really we want you to be able to rise up. And if you're tucked under when you're seated, you can't rise up. That's how you get a round back. And the round back represents the past. So, even in yoga, like when you do Paschimottanasana, intense stretch of the west, which is just that forward bend, the west is behind you, right? So you can also, as you breathe in this pose, you can do the breath of the seasons, right? So that's another nice one here. So start underneath yourself in your perineum, and we'll find it by magic squaring the pelvis. So 1, go to your tailbone. 2, right knee goes forward and a little in. 3, left hip bone back. 4, left knee forward. 5, perineum backwards. So then again, you're mediating through the middle to get to your right sitting bone and bring it around. And then 7, up to your right hip. 8, around your back across your coccyx to your left sitting bone. And then 9, thread the knee, Bill, I love that one, at the third eye of your pelvis, bring your knees together. And then to stay in the pose longer, occupy your mind. So try the breath of the seasons. Inhale up the front of your body and image that spring is rising. And then hold at the top of your head, which is summer. It's ripe like a peach. It feels like it's going to burst. And then exhale down your back, and that's autumn leaves descending. You put your past behind you. So that's the west, right? Sunsets in the west. Hold underneath yourself for winter. Lift your perineum. Learn to be cozy with when you're empty. And then inhale again up the front of you to the top of your head. Hold. That's summer. Exhale down your back. Put the past behind you. Hold underneath yourself like you're in a little cozy cabin for winter. Inhale up the front of your body. Spring rises. Hold at the top of your head. Exhale down your back. Autumn descends. Again, hold underneath yourself. Inhale up the front of your body. Spring rises. First growth. Motivation. Hold at the top of your head for summer. It's like a great experience. Exhale down your back. Reflect on what happened. Hold underneath yourself and use what you know in your empty moments. And then inhale up to the top of your head. Exhale out in every direction you can imagine. Nice. Now right fingers come down. Pull with your right hand reach your left arm behind you, but really it's like, I like to do it this way. Think of like pulling back the string on the bow. So you use your scapula to twist you around the clock. And then lean back into the twist. So you're not going to the left, but you're really on a spit so that you stay on the longitudinal axis of the pose. And then again, some of you might put your elbow down and hold your foot, but if this makes you topple off your block, right, if you lose your base, then there's no rise in it anymore. And then glide your chin back and turn into that twist. Take your left fingers, bring them down, and then just unbraid your braid and twist the other way. And substantiate from your feet, right and left. So triangulate your base so that your knees can come together so that you find insight, because the knees together is the third eye of your lower body. So it's really about threading the needle. It's about insight. It's the eye that sees in and sees out. Bring your hands down, come forward, and just now separate your feet. Bring your knees together and sit down on your block. You can turn the block in a higher position if you need to be able to sit like this. Place your hands on your thighs so that you connect your first floor to your second floor. Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth to connect your second floor to your third floor. So with all three floors, you become a well-integrated whole. And then take a plumb line from the universe way up here, through the crown of your head, through your body, through your perineum, down into the center of the earth. Go back to the center of your chest, at your spiritual heart. This is the eye of the practice, the living room. It's a room you take really good care of. It's like a sacred place, maybe where you do your meditation every day. And the breath of center to circumference. So inhale from your heart center out in every direction, down and up, and back to center. And then center, left and right, laterally, and back to center. And then from center, forward and back to center. And now inhale from center to your entire circumference. Become more spherical. And just your breath goes back to center, but keep the inner image and awareness of your ever-expanding circumference. So with each breath, become a little more spherical, so you're a little rounder, so you can roll with it. So that you have fewer sharp edges, you can bounce back. Put your tongue on the roof of your mouth and relax your belly. And now, rather than efforting your breath to your circumference, make your breath quieter and just feel how you can breathe to the circumference of each and every cell. And by so doing, reach your circumference without having to push it. Every cell breathes. Sounds better in French, even though my French is not perfect. C'est votre corps entier qui respire. It's your whole body that breathes. Even the cells on the tip of your tongue touching the roof of your mouth. Every skin cell. And then just put a little smile in each eye. And swallow so you feel your own juiciness. Put a little smile in each ear.
little smile in each armpit. And put a little smile in your belly button. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. I hope you enjoyed your movement snack. Have a great day. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you soon. Peace.